it's Newsnight. Tonight we have a very special program for you people at home. We are looking at the effects of global warming and the rising sea levels in the Netherlands, Bangladesh, Egypt, and the Pacific Islands, which I think is a very important one. Okay, now over to Bangladesh with our representative, Kyle Benton.
Bangladesh, a nation of 140 million living in almost total poverty, but all with the fear of rising sea levels. The rising sea levels and tides here are causing extensive flooding in the delta, which the Ganges, Meghna and Brahmaputra joined all together, which mostly all of the Bangladeshi population live in. 1 million a year is estimated are being displaced due to rising sea levels here. A big problem as they need to be relocated and just increasing density in the country and making living much harder. Most parts of this country are only a maximum of 12 metres above sea level, and even if the sea level just rises 1 metre, it's predicted 50% of the land will be lost here. The coastline, a main environmental area, is home to the world's largest mangrove forest, as you can see here. The wonderful green of this country. And also inhabits many different species, such as the Bengal tiger and hundreds of rare bird species. In 1997, this region was officially declared endangered. Other environmental problems to this whole global warming problem, and also adding to the troubles, is the fact that trees and other foliage are cut down for firewood, land clearance and for farming, since many of Bangladesh are poor and they need self-subsistence farming to live. But in order to cut down these forests, it's meaning that nothing is there to infiltrate water from the rain and monsoon seasons, and makes monsoon seasons even more terrible because it's just flowing straight into the delta and causing extensive flooding. Due to the amounts of poverty, technology to protect from this major issue is not available, and the government is not particularly in a stable status to sort this out. Possible solutions to this whole problem is water storage, reforestation and shelters. This is being done already, but not to a level to support 140 million people. And overall, who should pay for this? Bangladesh is only a small contributor to the world's carbon dioxide emissions that's causing global warming. But if they receive any help from USA or other countries, no. Back to the studio.
Welcome back. That was very interesting, Carl Bennett. Now we're going to Arnold Williams, MBE, in Egypt, the Nile Delta. Goodbye.
Thank you, Rory. Yes, the Nile Delta is a very important area of Egypt that will be severely affected by global warming. The Nile Delta has roughly 4,000 people per square kilometre in Egypt out of a population of 80 million. Roughly a third of the total inhabitants of Egypt do live in this area. And the 1 metre rise will cause 10.5% of these people to have to evacuate to other areas. This is a severe problem, as the rest of Egypt is pretty much desert. A further hit to them will be the food supply. Half the food supply is grown in the Nile Delta area, which is because of the nutrients that travel along in the silt to this area. This is why that so much is grown there. Furthermore, the ancient Roman city of Alexandria, the second most important city in the Roman Empire, will be completely destroyed, along with all the archaeological wonders that lie there. So, what is the Egyptian government going to do about this? Well, the Egyptian premier has spent $300 million on trying to protect the Nile Delta from this severe problem. He has built seawalls along the coasts and has let sand in to replenish the beaches. Yeah. Thank you, Rory. Back to the studio.
Thank you, Arnie, for that amazing insight into the washing away of the Nile Delta in Egypt. Now we go to Umaga, Tongfu, in the Pacific Islands.
Welcome, I'm here at Kiribati, one of the many low-lying Pacific Islands down near New Zealand and Australia. Global warming, rising sea levels around the area, which is putting the countries in that area at a great risk, socially and economically. Environmentally, in places like Fiji, many of the mangroves have been destroyed for firewood and other uses. This has reduced. They're keeping the sea out, and has also left the groundwater open to contamination from the seawater. The growing population and rapid urbanisation in the area, coupled with the tourist trade, will also affect it. Tuvalu is people a year, but the birth rate is still rising, therefore the people displacement is not really happening, and the tourist trade is suffering. Also, people need moving. Places like Australia and New Zealand are going to face a dramatic rise, as they are going to have to accept in order to keep these people alive. For example, Tuvalu, again, is allowed 800 people a year into Australia at the moment, but they're all in low-skilled labour jobs like strawberry picking, which for them is fine, but they don't get that much money for it. That's really all I have to say on the matter. Over to Rory Wellwood in the studio.
Wow, those Pacific Islands are in real trouble. Now we go to Howard Van Houten in the Netherlands.
Go.
Uncle Rory, today we are in the Netherlands. I am going to tell you the causes of the Netherlands flooding and the responses which is going to happen. Causes of the increased sea levels are the melting of the polar ice cap by global warming. 125,000 years ago, the sea level increased to 4 to 6 meters. Combined with storm events in the North Sea, the Netherlands will be in serious danger. It could cause many people to be displaced and refugees going to mainland Europe. Netherlands is one of the densely populated places in the world, with 16.5 million people. In response, they would have to protect themselves. The Dutch would have to build up their 350 kilometers of coastline and sometimes dredge out lands and build up dikes and dams. This would be an investment of 2.9 billion annually, 65% of the nation's income. The sea level rise has the potential to rise in the Netherlands 6 meters high, making the lowest city 7 meters high underwater. Good day and thank you from the Netherlands.
And that was Howard. Let's hope those dikes really hold. Now, this is the end of the show, and I'll give you Kyle Bennett,
You fucking arsehole.
Arnold Williams, Howard, and Umaga Tongfu in next week's episode.
He broke into my house, beat up my mum, locked me in the cupboard, and then he took me out the cupboard and...
Get up now. Oh,